Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmad Nawaz with the latest stand-up of Sports Today. All eyes today were on the Pakistan Cricket Board because the squad for the England series and for the Tri-Series in New Zealand and the World Cup in general was supposed to be announced. And of course, after a delay, first we expected it to happen yesterday, didn't happen, then today, then it was delayed in time as well. But finally, Chief Selector Mohammad has announced the squad for the home series against England, for the Tri-Series in New Zealand before the World Cup and for the World Cup as well. The squad possesses a bit of particular changes that we will be discussing in detail. More particularly, Fakhar Zaman and Nawaz have been put into reserves. Shan Masood finally makes a return or an inclusion, you can say, into the Pakistan T20 squad based upon his performances and sheer pressure as well of everybody who has been advocating for him. Meanwhile, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Wasim Jr. are fit and are set to return as well. While if you look at the England series, then two new inclusions, Amir Jamal from Northern and Abrar Ahmad from Sindh, the leg spinner, have been added into the squad for the home series against England. So these are new inclusions that have happened for the Pakistan cricket team. We'll be discussing about that in detail and also the prospect of these three different squads that will be taking part. And as far as the wicket-keeping prospect was concerned, there was a huge debate about Sarfaraz Ahmed. That has been put to rest. Shoaib Malik's debate has been put to rest. Mohammad Haris will be joining the squad as a backup wicket-keeper. After that, we'll be talking about the home series against England. English cricket team has finally arrived in Pakistan. They landed in Karachi and reached their team hotel. You can see these visuals in front of you. After 17 years, they're here in Pakistan. They will be playing 7 T20s against the Pakistani cricket team at Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore and National Stadium, Karachi. And of course, after this, they will depart back to England and then return for a test series later in the year as well. Great sign, positive cricket. The guys were really over the moon. Joss Buttler, the English white ball captain, had a press conference as well. Very optimistic. Also announced a donation for Pakistan's flood relief campaign as well, and said through cricket will try to bring joy back to the country and create some positivity. So I think very heartening scenes that we saw today coming to us from Karachi. Then of course we'll be moving on to more things in the world of sports. Of course, we'll take this in detail. Very sad news coming in. ICC panel of elite umpires has just lost a gem. Asad Rauf has passed away. He was a former member of the ICC elite panel of umpires. He passed away due to a cardiac arrest in Lahore. He was returning from his shop to his home. He stood umpire in 49 test matches, 19 one-day internationals and 23 T20 internationals as well. Talk about his career, of course, a very illustrious career, then at the end marred with controversy, then with difficulties, of course, removed from the panel of umpires, returned to owning a small clothes shop in Lahore. Very honorable man, of course, kept his head up high, providing for his family. Unfortunately, yesterday, while he was making his way to home after closing his shop, suffered a cardiac arrest and passed away. The Pakistan Cricket Board, the ICC, and I think the entire cricketing fraternity, including former cricketers, have offered their condolences. We here at PTV World and Sports Extra and PTV in general also offer our condolences to Asad Rauf and his family and pray for the departed soul. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and give courage to the family to bear this irreparable loss. After that, we'll be talking about another feat for Pakistan, where the number of records keeps on growing. When you talk about the Guinness Book of World Records, and this academy has aced it all. The Rashid Naseem Academy has completed a century of Guinness records. They're the first academy to complete 100 Guinness World Records. Rashid Naseem packed 2 more records for this academy, and of course the most jumping jacks in 1 minute carrying a 40-pound pack has now been completed as well. He has 81 individual records and 100 in total, of course, registering 2 jumping jack records, completing that century. 100 records for this academy. When you talk about this illustrious academy that is there, they're truly proving a point in martial arts and fitness. And like I said, they've yet again, the Pakistan Academy of Martial Arts and including this Rashid Naseem Martial Arts Academy have gotten another feat. That's what we're discussing on the show today in detail. Like I said, all eyes were on the Pakistan Cricket Board. Mohammad Wasim has announced the squad and we'll be discussing this in detail. First of all, we've been joined in studios by cricket coach and expert Sayyid Mohammad Owais. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
How are you?
Great to be on the show and great to have you on the show as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. We've also been joined by senior cricket expert, senior cricket commentator, one of the first female voices on the mic when you talk about Pakistan cricket, Leena Aziz. Assalamu alaikum, Leena. How are you?
Walaikum salam, Ahmad. I hope you're well, and I hope Owais is well. He's been really busy.
Yes, very busy man these days, but thankfully we get a hold of it. Like I said, he's on his way to become a franchise owner very soon. Leena, the squad has been announced after some delay. Like I said in my introduction, a lot of agendas have been put to rest, including Sarfaraz Ahmad, including Shoaib Malik, including the fact who's the backup wicketkeeper. Well, obviously we have to discuss these three separate squads now, but initially for the home series against England first of all.
Yeah, well, I feel that the team that has been announced has mostly been expected. We were expecting that such a team would be announced. Just a few changes, like Wasim even said, and like you said in your intro, some of the changes are more because of the fact that there has been pressure, but they are the right changes. I'm talking about Shan Masood. I mean, he's been playing well at county circuit, making runs in abundance, so he deserved his spot. And also, we talk a lot about how players need to evolve. So this player, Shan Masood, has evolved a lot. He's a genuine opener, but he's evolved to middle order batter number 4, because he knows that as an opener there is no opportunity right now. So he's worked hard to at his game as a middle order, and now's the right time to give him a chance. Just look at how much he's evolved, what he has to offer, whether he can bring the same amount of success to the Pakistan team, which he has been, perform the way he's been performing in the county. So that will only happen once he gets a chance. So I'm happy about Shan Masood. That's a good change. Couple of youngsters in Amir Jamal, also because he bowls well, but he's been making a lot of runs, so he can fit in perhaps as an all-rounder. If he gets a chance against England, and maybe if he does well, he can also travel to Australia, because we do need an all-rounder, a fast bowling all-rounder. So the changes are good. As far as Shoaib Malik is concerned, he was never going to get a chance, and it was confirmed by the tweet he did the other day. Once he made that tweet, he wrote that. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. If there was any doubt, anyways, I didn't think he was going to make it. But if there was any doubt, it was settled once and for all that he wasn't going to make it. Sarfaraz, I'm a little sad about, because I still think he's got a lot of cricket left in him.
Wes, your thoughts now, because like I said, these are three different squads. Leena, of course, in detail has elaborated the entire vision right now that is going into Pakistan cricket. What do you believe, especially we'll start off with the home series squad against England, where we see two inclusions, including Abrar Ahmad, the leg spinner from Sindh, and Amir Jamal, the all-rounder from Northern, have been added into the squad for the home series. And of course, Shan Masood is also making a return. And of course, Mohammad Haris is probably going to be part of this squad.
See, one thing I've always been in favor of getting in new players to play in Pakistan soil, because I mean this is your home conditions, and obviously that players know best how to perform over here. Ibrar, because I know he was playing, even he has played for Sindh, even he played for Mirpur Royals, and he's a good leg spinner. I would say a guy who's coming up, and he has even taken wickets in the domestic structure which is going on right now in the Qajas in the trophy going on. And one thing for me, I would say there were big names which were excluded, which were going on, like even Leena mentioned on Shoaib Malik, Sarfaraz Ahmad. For me, I would say, I know I still used to criticize that he wasn't dropped because of his captaincy, he was dropped because of his consistent performance as a batsman. But if you just watch out in the Sindh, the recent tournament going on, he's the lone warrior who's performing well for Sindh in the batting order, I would say. So I was even shocked not having Sarfaraz over here. But when you look at the, I would say T20 cricket, limited cricket, I would say, you're actually focusing on the future. So it's a good sign that you're getting Haris over here, because he's the guy who scored yesterday, if I'm not wrong, in 13 or 14 balls, he scored around 41 runs for KPK. He has been keeping well, so it's a good sign over here. But two guys, youngsters, Ibrar and the other guy who plays, Aziz Jamal, who plays for Northern. For me, I would say as an all-rounder, if I might be wrong, Leena, and you both should correct me on for this, because I worked with Ahmad Butt over here. I would actually say about him, because I remember I was the one who criticized and said that he's not an international product. But the way he has been performing, even in this cup, you say, even he performed in the Pakistan Super League, he performed in the Kashmir Premier League for a franchise. I would say the way he has been handling with the ball, and that unit what you need at 5 and 6 position, where you need a power hitting strike batsman, and specifically a good against a short pitch delivery. So he could have been a good choice over here, because he is a senior campaigner who's played a lot of domestic cricket and performed well. He has toured many Pakistan A, and he was in the line of Pakistan too, and he has been consistently performing well for franchises. So many ups and downs over here. I know many of them would be angry with the selection committee because they wanted Sharjeel Khan even to be in the Pakistan
Who are
Pakistan
they?
squad.
Who wanted Sherazi Khan? Name the person right
Ahmad
now.
bhai.
No, not
Just
at all.
joking on.
Sayyid Mohammad
Sir.
Owais is the one who's been aiming for Sherazi Khan.
See, you know what? I'll tell you one thing. See, I know there are two things. Obviously, one thing is really good that nowadays the cricket needs a proper, I would say, a fitness level mentality to be in any squad, I would say, because you can't hide your spinners over here. But looking at the batting, what he had done, I know he has been dropping so many catches for him. That's why he scored runs over here. But if you watch out when you're traveling to Australia, I know it's a different wicket now with a different atmosphere. You don't see many wickets who are actually bouncing. They're drop-in wickets. They react different. But in that kind of condition where the ball just pitch short of delivery, you need a guy who's good at pull, who's good at, I would say, cutting the ball. So he could have been a good choice over here, but unfortunately he isn't in the squad. But this squad, one thing I'll tell the viewers that you need to back them up. I know many of them are against it and many of them are in favor of it. You need to back them. They are your asset and they, inshallah, hopes they perform.
Leena,
well.
I've got a question on a personal note, and of course with you I know I can be on that level that I can ask a question even if it is a bit shocking to world audiences. But have we now become a country obsessed with leg spinners? We already have Shadab Khan, Usman Qadir in the structure. Nawaz is there as a left arm spinner. But on a personal note, my question still remains that why aren't we producing more off spinners?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll have to agree with you. I mean, like you said, we've already got Usman Qadir and Shadab. And if you talk about Nawaz, left arm spinners are also considered to be leg spinners because they make the same angle. Their deliveries, you know, when they bowl left arm, it is the same angle. So you're right. I mean, we have too many of them and all of them have good quality. So I don't know why Ibrar is given a chance unless they will actually play him. My question is that, you know, if you select a youngster, at least give him a few matches. So that there's 7 matches here. If you give him 1 or 2 matches, good enough. You don't give him any match, then there will be objections and eyebrows would be raised. And that is my question. The second part of your question is even more interesting, that why aren't there any off spinners? Well, you know, we've had a lot of problems with off spinners and their actions. And I've said it before that why these off spinners, when they come to international arena and then their actions are objected upon. The reason for that is that when they're playing club cricket or even first class cricket, the umpires don't call their actions. So when they're not called, then there's no opportunity to correct their actions. And once they come into international cricket, of course, there's more scrutiny on their actions in particular Pakistani off spinners. And we do need a genuine off spinner. There is no question in my mind. They're match winners. If you talk about Nathan Lyon, or you talk about Ashwin, or if you in the past you talk about Saeed Ajmal or Saklan Mushtaq, they're all off spinners. There is a guy, I mean, Bilal Asif, I don't know why he's not in the team, or he hasn't been performing, or maybe he wasn't groomed the right way, but we do certainly spinners.
Yeah, feel that need there as well. Of course, Leena, a lot of perspective is going into these different squads, and I have them in front of me as well. Fakhar Zaman, obviously, right now we've been told is carrying a knee injury, but he has been included into the reserves for the World Cup as well.
Are you asking this question to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, because he's injured. So, of course, he's one of the main cogs of the Pakistan team, even though he hasn't performed well. And that partly has to do with the fact that he's an opener and he's asked to play at number 3. I just feel, watching the Asia Cup, I just feel that Pakistan do need him as an opener because Rizwan and Babar cannot open with that strike rate. It is ridiculous to get 35 runs in the power play. So I feel that Rizwan and Fakhar should open whenever Fakhar is fit, or any other opener with a higher strike rate. And Babar needs to come down at number 3. And even at number 3, he has to up the ante and has to score at a strike rate of 135 at least. So you cannot have career strike rates of 125 and then expect to win every match. We can win matches with these two opening when you're chasing 150. You can, because then you can sort of pace your innings that way. But you cannot chase 170, 80, 190, or you cannot set up a good score. So, that is why I feel that Rizwan needs to bat with Fakhar Zaman whenever he's fit, or any other opener who's very aggressive and can score at a good clip. And then Babar needs to come down.
Wes, all of us have wanted that, but we doubt that that's going to happen because of the way this combination is going. The team management, especially Babar Azam, is not comfortable changing those positions. But then again, the question does arise of Haider Ali into the squad as well. Once again, he's been included, but whether game time or not, because let's be honest, more or less it's the same squad that has been playing.
See, for me, one thing what Leena even mentioned on, even you have been discussing that, where does Babar Azam or Fakhar Zaman, that's the biggest tie, I would say, because, the real problem starts from opening department. Yes, they both are performing for you, Rizwan and Babar, but you need to realize one thing, that it's a sameness kind of a batting. I mean, they rotate the strike, they go on every balls, but you need a striker on the other hand who can actually clear that power play runs for you, what Pakistan has been lacking on. So Rizwan could have been a best choice with Fakhar Zaman, and Fakhar Zaman has performed well in the opening department. No, one Asia Cup bad, it does not mean that his career should be ended up over here. Babar Azam needs to realize one thing, that your middle order, if you just look, I hope so Shan Masood performs well, he's into the squad over here, but your middle order was the real concern for us. It wasn't that strong what you needed for that, so it was better. Babar Azam could have batted down the order, who could just make that middle order a little bit strong, but rightly pointed by Leena, see in the T20s you can't bat with the strike rate of 30-40 runs. I mean, you have to bat with the strike rate of 140-150 over here, because you know one thing, that I need to be aggressive. Because look at Sri Lanka, if you remember the match winning scenarios, when they spoke to the Sri Lankan batsmen, they had one thing and they said, we tried to bat aggressive, even the wickets were down, but we knew one thing, that we need to be aggressive over here. So we don't need to be in the shallow, we need to be we need to be aggressive to score runs, and that's what Pakistan had to do. In the middle order, you got Haider Ali, you have got Shan Masood over here. Personally, for me, I would say Haider Ali is a strong contender at number 1 down position. He's a guy who's able of scoring on the on every ball. I mean, he can go for big hits. If you just watch out his score, I know that many of the people, even I have been criticizing that he needs to realize one thing, that I'm not a player of 20-30 runs. I mean, I need to convert that 30s into 50s and 100s. I need to know that. But if to know that, you need to make him play more games. I mean, get him that experience what he needs on. And he's a guy who can actually be a strong contender in the middle order with Babar Azam. So it would be interesting to watch where do they place on Haider Ali, because I was really shocked to see Haider Ali not even playing a match which was a group match against Sri Lanka, where we could have made him a play.
It was almost a practice.
So you could have got a proper thing that this guy isn't performing, so we can get him up over here. Because I personally feel so. Iftikhar, obviously he will be there in the squad because he has got an edge of bowling, so he's considered as an all-rounder for Pakistan. Khushdil Shah, a little bit I would say, I'm not in favour of him, because he's more, many of them might disagree, he's more a one-day player, because it takes time for him to settle down. Once he goes on, he's beautiful to watch, but you need a guy, again I will say, that position who's batting at 140-150 strike rate, and
what
that
about
could
the
be
youngster?
Sorry?
Youngster Iftikhar.
Iftikhar bhai, I mean,
but he's got a terrific record in the last series you played against Australia.
That's the thing I would say. I know that the last match what we lost against, I know that was run a ball for him, but still I remember the previous series which we played against Australia, he was one of the good batsmen in the last matches. So I'm not criticizing him, but again I would say, Ahmad bhai, you need someone in the middle order who's got the strike rate of 140-150 to get that score what we need at the end of the overs.
Right, now we've got a very special thing to share with you. The Pakistan Cricket Board has released an exclusive video on the squad that has been selected. Let's just take a look at this exclusive video by the Pakistan Cricket Board and then come back. There you have it, a bit of a promotional video of the guys that have been selected are going to be there. Leena, how important does the batting order now become? Because one thing we've seen in the Asia Cup, which is a positive, that the team management, especially Babar Azam, has not shied away from making the batting order a bit flexible. If needs be, we've explored the capabilities of Mohammad, Nawaz and Shadab Khan. And also, I want you to comment on Iftikhar, because like I said, the last time we went against Australia, he was the one guy who could face that pace head on and the bounce as well.
Extremely important question, Ahmad. The batting order is extremely important, and like you said, it's great. It was great to see that Babar was flexible during the Asia Cup. He made a couple of very good moves, sending Nawaz up the order in that match against India, which proved to be a winning move. But my question is that unless you don't change the openers, nothing's going to matter. I mean, there was this, you guys were discussing the middle order. And I'd have to say that, once the openers take so much time and their strike rate is not up to the mark, the power play is just for 30-35 runs, and you're chasing 170-80, you do put excessive pressure on the middle order, because then they're asked to chase 12-13 runs and over. It's never easy. So the openers is, for me, the most important part is the openers. and the power play. If the openers play at a good clip, good strike rate, 140 odd, 135, 140, and in the power play you take say 50, 55 runs, be aggressive, play your shots. And also, I would like to point out the reason we don't get too many runs, our openers don't get too many runs, is that also Rizwan plays all his shots on the deck side, hardly plays anything on the offside. So the offside game has to be developed. Those shots, the lefted shots over extra cover and point, those have to be played to get a run. So for me, the in the batting order, the change has to come right at the top, at the openers. Rizwan and Babar cannot open together. There has to be one change there, and it has to be an aggressive batsman. Whether they open with, they can open with Haider or Fakhar Zaman. And then in the middle order, of course, then the pressure would be less, it'll be better. And so Shan Masood's coming. I'm happy about that. You asked a question about Iftikhar. Iftikhar, I'm a big fan of Iftikhar, by the way, but he disappointed me thoroughly in the Asia Cup. You cannot play with a strike rate of 100, no matter what the situation. You can get out making 15 runs in 5 balls, good enough. But you cannot play 30 balls and get 30 runs. That's not good enough for me. So now, for me, it'd be very interesting to see how Shan Masood plays, what is his strike rate, and if there is going to be a change in the opening, there has to be. Otherwise, I mean, things would never fall into place.
Leena, one important perspective I wanted to share with you as well and know your thoughts. Yesterday on the show, we had PJ Mir, and we were discussing the prospect of the team management, because I was furious that we've got an interim setup since 1 year, and with all respect to them, some of them are former legends of Pakistan cricket. In the post-match press conference after the final, they made it seem that the guys have come back from war probably. One of them had a head concussion, one of them was bleeding from his ear, one of them had stitches. The Pakistani nation respects these players, but they want them to perform. If they're not fit and they're playing, look, it's really nothing that they're giving to us. It's injustice to players who are on the bench. That's one perspective. But what I want to ask is, because I also asked about the prospect of Matthew Hayden and where the team management is going. We're not sure since a year. It's an interim setup. PJ Mir was of the opinion, and like I said, I want to share this insight with you, that he said it's about mentorship now. The guys have talent, they've got the capability. The only thing they're lacking is confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to agree with them. And where does the confidence come from? It comes from the captain, it comes from the management. You talked about Hayden. I'd be so happy if he could be the coach throughout the year, not just for 1 or 2 seasons of the World Cup or just one series, but if he could be the coach of Pakistan, replacing Saklan. Because the presser that Saklan did after the Asia Cup, I mean, he wasn't ready to accept the responsibility that Pakistan need to play faster. They need to improve strike rates. There needs to be a different opening partnership. There was too much pressure on the middle order because the openers didn't perform up to the mark. And by saying that, I don't mean getting 80s or 90s. I mean getting improving their strike rates. And because I was giving in another program, I gave the example of Rohit Sharma. Look what he's doing. He's doing it so well. I mean, he wants to get a 30, 35, not necessarily getting out on that, but getting a 30, 35 on strike rate being 150. So, we have to do something like that, and then everything else should fall into place. And coming back to the coaching staff, I think it's high time Pakistan needs a foreign coach and a very, a sort of positive coach, like McCullum. You can't get McCullum now, but maybe an Australian coach, because Australians don't have a negative bone in their body. So that is why I was saying that Hayden's such a good choice. If he's not available, get an Australian coach, another one, or a South African one, or a British coach. But people who understand modern day game, people who understand T20 game. This is not one day that we're playing or test match there doesn't need to be an anchor. A friend of ours, said that anchors are only best on television, and I agree with
that. Some of us are good on the cricket field too. I can vouch for that. But Sayyid Mohammad Owais, 2 very important questions to you. One of them has just come in front of me. I'll be asking that in the second phase. But first of all, as a coach, I want you to comment on this perspective that these guys have got experience, talent, the ability is there, but they're lacking confidence, and that's why a mentor is very important. Something probably what Mickey Arthur was able to do from these guys was extract that ability. That's one of the reasons why we won that Champions Trophy, because of that self-belief. Now, one is that, and of course the second question is that, is it time for the tailor to close his shop?
जब तक दर्जी जिएगा. See, I mean, one thing, Ahmad bhai, I mean, obviously, one thing what I've seen when Hayden was the coach of you, specifically in the last World Cup what you won on, that was giving confidence to a player, not changing his game plan. That's the main thing what you have to do as a batting consultant, what I've seen. Because if you try to change the game plan of a batsman, what he's naturally aggressive, and try to change him, that you need to be defensive, that means you're going to play with his career. I mean, he's going to finish off his career. He would spoil his strike rate and the batting too. I mean, that same thing happens with the fast bowler, with the spinner bowler over here. Don't go for the attack, don't go for this and try to change and all that. That changes your whole momentum. You need to be positive over here. You need to tell that batsman, you're an aggressive batsman. You need to play with a natural stride. It's not getting early out or getting, I would say, a snick or something on the first ball. It's a natural intent what you're over here. Secondly, it's the self-belief of a player and the confidence given by the management that, see, whatever happens on, we are backing you. Don't need to worry about any other critics and all that. We are here to back you up. The real problem what I've seen in the Pakistan team, even our domestic structure, it's that what I've been saying on, even your captain does not know whether he would be the captain for next series or not, because that insecurity is still there in his mind, because there's no backup plan for him. There's no backing up for him. What I saw in Dubai, I remember in the previous World Cup, and remember Matthew Hayden vlogs and highlights used to come on from the Pakistan cricket. It was that specifically for Asif Ali, because he's one of the guy who has always been into the radar, I would say. What he was for him was that he's a good hard-hitting batsman, and whatever he used to hit in the nets too, and he used to say, that's brilliant, you need to do that. Positivity was there. It was not that, oh, bhai, ye out ho gaya, circle ke andar hai. This does shatter you, believe me, it does shatter you. So you need to be positive over here. And I personally believe that what Leena even said on, Hayden could have been a best choice for you as a permanent batting consultant, or a new coach. You know, there's a new definition called a hard-hitting, power hitting coach. So he could have been a best choice for you. And I would personally again say that Pakistan cricket really needs to carry up with him, because he's a guy who brought that flair what Pakistan was lacking in, between the flamboyant
and a psychologist.
And a psychologist. It's a really important thing, because our people, they actually think that a psychologist basically works with a mental guy. It's not that. He works with a guy who's carrying a fatigue with him. I mean, you need to sit with him, you need to talk to him, get him easy up over here.
Taylor closes his shop or not?
One thing is that I'll tell you, I don't know whether Leena would agree or not, jab tak darzi jiyega, siyega. It is, I mean, believe me, he won't.
I don't think
you know what, see, not getting selected in the World Cup squad or not getting selected in the Asia Cup, but I personally feel so, he's still got that cricket. I'm not saying that he needs to be in the Pakistan team, but he's got that league cricket, he's got plenty of runs.
Right, Owais. Let's just move on to this report that we've got on England's tour to Pakistan. Let's take a look.
England's cricket squad touched down in Karachi on their first tour of Pakistan in 17 years. England last played in Pakistan in 2005 and were due to visit last year until pulling out at short notice. Police officials said strict security arrangements were made for the visiting team for their drive from the Karachi airport to the hotel. Last month, the England and Wales cricket board said the team were desperate to play in Pakistan. The 19-man England squad captained by Joss Butler will be playing 7 T20s in Karachi and Lahore from 20th September to 2nd October. The first 4 matches of the series will be played at the National Stadium, while the last 3 will be played at the Gaddafi Stadium. The visiting side will start training at the National Stadium from tomorrow.
Lovely shot. It was a little too full, it was a little too wide.
Pakistan Cricket Board has put together a dynamic commentary panel for the historic series. Renowned commentators David Gower and Mark Butcher and Pakistan's cricket legends Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus, Amir Sohail, Bazid Khan and Arooj Mumtaz will commentate. It must be noted, England cricket team will return to Pakistan in December to play 3 test matches.
There you have it, all you need to know about the tour. After 17 years, the team has arrived. There's been a lot of positivity from the England white ball captain, Joss Butler, as well. Leena, a historic moment for Pakistan cricket, also for England cricket as well.
After a long time last year when they were coming, they pulled out but just at the in the nick of time, and that was pretty sad. But then, due to some great diplomacy and hard work of the Pakistan Cricket Board, like they're coming now. It's a very important series. I mean, earlier in the day, I was saying that teams like Australia, England, New Zealand, when they come to tour, it's a big thing. And then, of course, now the doors of international cricket are open, but they're going to be opened ajar when England team is going to play. So we just hope it goes incident free, and it's a great series. And they're a very tough side. I mean, they're not going to be an easy side. They've got some youngsters. They've got a good amalgamation of youngsters and some experience. I mean, Joss Butler, one of the great players these days in T20 cricket, the shorter format. And then they got experience of Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid. They've got some dashers like Alex Hales, who's a common everyday name, household name in Pakistan because of PSL. So they've got a very exciting bunch of players, and they're not going to be easy to defeat. So Pakistan will have to play out of their skin. I just hope that Pakistan is brave enough to try some of the youngsters they've named in the side, so we get to know what are they made of, and how well they respond to international
But Leena, that can be compensated because we've got 7 T20s, Leena. So obviously we can, I'm being very honest, play 7 different combinations.
Yeah, they could, but knowing Pakistan, the way our mindset works, there could be 70 and they won't try the youngsters. Mark my words. But I just hope I'm wrong. And these boys, Amir Jamal and Ibrar and Shan Masood, who's just come back to the team, they're given ample opportunity, and we can see what they're made of. If they perform well, they could then go on to serve us, and will be great. And also Haider Ali, I'm looking forward to seeing him in a role. But earlier we were talking about the foreign coaches. What they do well is that they give you a role. And then, your role is pretty clear in your mind. I wouldn't change Mohammad Yusuf. I think he's doing a brilliant job, but I would want to change Saklan Mushtaq and bring a more aggressive coach instead of him.
Saeed Mohammad Owais, your thoughts now. 17 years, history in the making now that the England team is here. And there was a lot of positivity from their players even before the tour as well. And now today, the press conference from Joss Butler, even more positive about how excited they are to play in Pakistan.
See, I was just following the post, and many of the players were positive, and they were happy. And specifically, 2 to 3 players belong from Pakistan, so they were more happy. And Alex Hales, even remember, he was saying that we are traveling to Pakistan. Hope to see a competitive cricket, and a good statement, I would say, specifically from the English Cricket Board was for the flood affectees. I mean, so that they're going to be donating some amount over here. I would say, a much awaited tournament after the New Zealand, unfortunately. This is one of the biggest sides after Australia. They're going to be touring Pakistan, so it's a great initiative. And England, they are one of the best sides in the T20. And the second thing, it's a good preparation for the Pakistan for the World T20. But rightly pointed by Leena, would be interesting to watch on which youngster gets a chance over here. Because see, it's even just not for the youngsters. It's I would say injustice with Shan Masood or anyone like Haider Ali too. I mean, that you don't induct them in the playing 11 here, and you just directly drop them off in the Australia series and let them go and just perform in Australia. So it's not injustice for them. So you need to give a proper chance over here, get a proper balanced squad for Australia. T20 is still, I would tell, I know there are drop-in wickets.
But Wes, are you fine with 7 T20s? You think it's okay having 7 of them in Pakistan?
See, it's a big series again. 7 T20s are not small T20s.
But obviously the World Cup preparation.
World Cup coming up, but the real preparation for you would be the New Zealand series, because the Australia and New Zealand little bit are same wickets. I mean, they do have a same formality. So it's going to be, I would say, a perfect chance for Pakistan to prepare for the World T20. But again, you need to give chances to the youngsters, because you need that young guns to perform well. And believe me, looking at the squad, I mean, your young guns will be your main candidate for Australia. If they perform with the gelled up unit of your senior campaigners, remember what we had done in the Champions Trophy, it was a gelled up unit. That if gelled up unit comes on, Pakistan would be a dangerous side for me.
They can be, but Leena, obviously England is very much prepared as well. They're a team now in modern day cricket that don't shy away from a challenge of different conditions. They have guys who can perform in every other condition, especially some of their power hitters who love to play spin.
Yeah, because they go and play a lot of leagues and they're well accustomed to playing spin. So they spin wouldn't bother them so much. But then we've got some quality spin, and both our spinners are bowling well. Nawaz and Shadab are bowling really well, so they won't be easy on their own wickets. It'll be also very interesting to see what kind of wickets are dished out, because the last time Australia came, we had terrible wickets. So I just hope that the new wickets in Lahore and Karachi are they've got some bounce, because we are going to be playing in New Zealand and then the World Cup in Australia. So we ideally some bounce would do really well, and then it'll be interesting to see how our batsmen in particular adjust to the bounce. And for Australia or New Zealand, it'll be, I don't know if people understand this or not, but it's important to take players, batsmen who play well on the back foot. They use the box well, because the cut and the pull are very important shots in Australia and New Zealand. So if the pitches, these Lahore Karachi pitches have got a bit of bounce, and I hope they have, because I know Ramiz Raja is very, very passionate about making the pitches better. So I hope they've got a little bit of bounce. If they have, and certain players are youngsters or any players, batters perform well on those pitches which got a little bit of bounce, I'll be really happy.
Definitely. Leena, Aziz, thank you very much for joining us on Sports
pleasure.
Extra. Sayyid Mohammad Owais, final thoughts now. Obviously, like we mentioned, that England is also going to be a better prepared side, but like Leena mentioned, that you have to keep your World Cup in mind.
See, one thing I'll tell you, I mean, England are not that side, or the overseas, I mean, sides are not now new ones to this conditions, because maximum 6 months they do spend on the Asian conditions. PSL, you have
Owais, I'll just have to wrap it up here. We're short on time. That completes this edition of Sports Extra. Join us tomorrow once again with another show. It's goodbye for now.